We're a competence center which works with many different kind of services, everything from school to kindergarten to health systems, both nationally and at the municipality level. And some of our programs are targeted towards the complex trauma group, where you have a group of children who doesn't benefit from our traditional therapy or our traditional way of doing things. And we see now that we have to focus, we have to change our focus, and we have to think outside the box if we want to help this population who has suffered so much. And I'm then talking about the children who has been maltreated or suffered neglect, not just one traumatic event, but several. And how do they tick? How do they function? And if we don't know that, we will continue on doing what we've always been doing, and it doesn't work. We want to punish them, or we want to isolate them because it's easier for us. But for them, nothing changes. The only thing we do is we kind of makes it even worse. For example, we like to teach all our customers how the brain works. So why do a child do like he or she does? And if we don't understand that, we act. What we want people to do is take a small step backwards and kind of think, what's happening here? And what would this child benefit from? Why is he, for example, running around? Why is he threatening you? And our natural reaction is threatening him back or disciplining him or punishing him. But that's been happening for that child for 20 years. Well, not for 20 years, but for 12 years or 10 years. It doesn't matter because they've been threatened with violence maybe their entire life. So if we do the same, if we say, ooh, if you do that, continue on, you go to the principal office. That works with normal children. That kind of instruction would give a normal child, aha, that's not smart. But for these children, that might just activate them. Because their smart part of their brain, we see a lot of time doesn't function that well. Since they are kind of run by their stress response system, which is very activated. We all have it, but for this population, we see it takes so little to activate it. So they might see dangers all over. It might be the way you look at him. It might be the tone of your voice. It might be something going on inside him that actually activates him. And during peacetime, this child can make the smart choices. You could say that, well, he understood math yesterday. He doesn't understand it today. That's why he doesn't want to do it. Or could we say he doesn't understand it today because he doesn't have the capacity to understand it? And that's totally different. And you don't give anyone more capacity by punishing them. So what we need for these children is time in and not time out. So if you say, well, go out and come back when you're regulated. What we then say is, go out and do whatever you normally do, which is not good for you, but eventually you will become regulated and maybe you come back. But he doesn't learn anything from it because he might not have during his childhood a parent or someone who cares, who has shown him how to regulate. Because regulation is not something you do only, you have to learn it. And all the skills we're talking about, we have to learn through our parents or others. So a lot of these children have deficits, and we should kind of fill these deficits up. As I said before, if you have a vitamin C deficit, you don't give the child vitamin D. Our traditional way of doing things are punishment or taking stuff away instead of thinking that he doesn't have the capacity. How should we build the capacity. Because some of these youngsters, for example, might function, a 12-year-old boy or a child, in one way they function like an 18-year-old, but in the other way they function like a 3-year-old. And my point is meet the 3-year-old. If he acts like a 3-year-old, okay, what do you normally do with a 3-year-old? You kind of try to regulate him, right? You don't punish him and threaten to kicking out of his home or well, whatever. So we have to change towards the child needs and not the other way around. We want the children to kind of fit into our box. And that's okay if the child has a normal development. But if it doesn't, it's not the child's fault. So we have to we have to adjust to the child and not the other way around. Yeah, that's a good question, how to change it. And if you want to change the system, you also have to start at a lower level. I guess, so you have to choose some institutions that you kind of give special treatment in a way. You supervise them, you give them the education, and what we see here in Norway when we've done that, it kind of is contagious in a way. After 2 years, someone else asks, could we have the same thing? But also we need to have policymakers on the top. If we don't have them on board, you can't actually make that major change that we want.